Yes, it's on YouTube at the moment. It is coming. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening everyone, or good night in Australia. We are today on Thursday in another biblical Hebrew class, and today we shall see what is the meaning of frog. Frog in Hebrew tzfardea, in biblical Hebrew sense. So for this cause we shall move into the whiteboard. Fernando, do you see the whiteboard?
It is loading here.
It is loading. Yes. There is one verse from Exodus, maybe two, and one paragraph or two from the Zohar about it, and two paintings. When you will be able to see the verse, Fernando, please tell me that we could start reading it.
Yes. Okay, now I can see it. I am ready. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes, two verses in English and then in Hebrew. What would you like to read?
We can start with the English text, maybe,
Yes.
and
Okay.
then I can try to read the Hebrew. So Exodus chapter 8, Shemor. And the Lord said unto Moses, Say unto Aaron, Stretch forth thy hand with thy rod over the rivers, over the canals, and over the pools, and cause frogs to come up upon the land of Egypt. And Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
Now the Hebrew.
now the Hebrew. Vayomer Hashem al Moshe, Emor al el Aaron, Mete et yadecha bematecha al chanicharot al chayochim ve'al hagamim ve'al et chatzpachteim al aretz Mitzrayim. Vayet Achon et yado al מימי מצרים ותעל חציפחתיה ותחם את ארץ מצרים.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your reading. Now the question is simple. When we think about frog, usually, maybe in English it's easy, what comes into the mind when we see the word frog or hear the word frog? What does come into our mind?
We think about the animal, no?
The animal.
The amphibious, the frog.
Yes, yes. This is interesting. Let's look into the Hebrew perspective. How many legs the frog have?
4.
Four. So let's see what is happening with the Hebrew perspective. Where does it bring us to? And we can see the allegorical, maybe phase of the word. 1 second. Here it is. Tzfardea. Maybe I'll make it thinner. Tzfardea. So there is a frog. Now the value of tzfardea, let's make it easy. The value of tzfardea is 444. Now This is one perspective. Another perspective is when we open the word Svardea. We have Safar is to honk, or Tzipor is like a bird, and Dea is like Dea, opinion, meaning to tweet opinions, to have many opinions. Now the question, what is the plague of frogs inside of us?
It is the world of opinion,
Yes, it is the world of,
the manifestation.
yes, yes. This is why we see the relation between the water. He asked Aaron to turn his hand with the rod and to bring it on the rivers, on the pools, on the lakes, canals, because whenever there's, we have to think in Hebrew perspective, water, any source of water, and water is time or duality aspect. Once the rod is touching it, it's like beating it, there is contact, and then we have a split, or everything becomes multiple by the contact of the rod. So Tzfardea, frog, Tzafar, Dea, there's a spread like a bird in the morning. Tzipor is also, starts her voice at the dawn. The sense of spreading different opinions. Either we contain different opinions between us, meaning we don't know what the way is, or our surrounding is full of opinions. What does it mean, full of opinion? Lack of one mind which is connected to the Logos. Because if we add here the 1, we get 4, 45, and 4 double 45, we have 180, which is, without the 0, alive, high, the connection with the source, or 180 is panim, the inner connection. So many opinions, many ways, but there is no connection to the one. This is the meaning of the plague of frogs within us. Any questions so far?
Yes,
Yes.
it is amazing and beautiful, and I was thinking that, here we have the Shemot, the Exodus, it is the beginning, we are at the plague, so it is an early development of the soul, right? It's leaving the land of Egypt, leaving the slavery, right?
Right.
So in this context, I think that
Felipe is here.
Yes. Shalom, Felipe.
Shalom, good morning, Felipe. Yes, Fernando.
Shalom, shalom, good morning.
Hello.
Shalom, good morning, Felipe, good morning. Yes, Fernando?
I was thinking about the connection with the soul,
Yes.
like when we do not have a contact with our own soul, we tend to project it in people and in places even, and it is very difficult to reclaim our projections,
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering if in the early stages of development, like the soul that is forgotten, it may looks like a reptile or amphibious or an animal in the early stage of development,
Mhm.
something that could fright us.
Yes. Yes. It is like it's a very beautiful picture when we decide when we have the intention to leave Egypt in us, then comes like a series of obstacles. First, there is a plague of blood. Blood in Egypt. This is the second plague, by the way. I did not show yet the paintings or the pictures, but the first, let's say, I would like to give us here a connection. Second, that we should map all of those plague in us. Second. I don't have at the moment connection to YouTube. I hope you can see YouTube because I lost the screen. 1 second. Yes, it comes. Dam is the first, which is blood. Blood. The value of Dam is 44. This is the first plague. First. The second is frog. Faldea, and this is 444. Do you remember, did you see once a picture of a frog? What color of eyes the frog has?
It is red?
Red. It is red. Excellent. It is red. And this is not just for us to go or to leave Egypt within us. Also, when we have a situation of a fetus in the womb, the fetus starts its life with a multiplicity of blood cells. And then there's like multiplicity or split, and then the fetus arrives and looks like a bit of frog. We can track all of those stages also in a fetus, in a human womb, because we have 10 plagues and we have 40 weeks of pregnancy, and we can calculate each stage. This is also an interesting take. But let's return to your question, Fernando.
We are opening it to the ideas, but it's interesting that the first plague is blood, or we could say that it's something that doesn't have even a form, it is fluid.
Yes.
So when we are facing the darkness, the pharaoh and the unconscious, it starts with something that does not have even a form, and it evolves to the frog, to a primitive form that is not possible to relate yet. It is something that we need to almost combat.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting.
Just elaborating it.
Yes. Also, the frog, it does not live in one place. She can live on the water, and she can jump on the land. She moves all the time. It's also us, because we are not decisive yet, or we are not ready. Sometimes we're collecting opinions, temporal opinions that comes from the water. Someday people are following the stock exchange market, another day they go to hear another lecture in spiritualism. There's a movement, and a person jumps from water to dry land, and collects opinions. He is a collection of many opinions, but he's not connected to the one. So he meets friends in the evening and he tells them what he heard in the bank, and he goes to another party and he tells them what did he hear in a lecture over the net. He just spreads opinion of others. It's just a big microphone or speaker, he tweets others people's ideas. He's a container of ideas, empty, but he doesn't himself have any connection. But this is a necessary stage. All of those stages are necessary.
Hello?
Yes, Fernando? Can you hear, Fernando? Hello? Felipe, can you hear?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you.
Hello, Eti?
Yes, I can hear you, Fernando.
Hello?
I can hear you. Felipe, do you hear?
Yes.
Eti?
Yes. Felipe hears, but we don't.
I
Whom
hear
do
everybody.
you hear? Everybody, yes. But Fernando does not hear, I think.
Eti?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I can hear you now. I lost for a moment, but I'm back now. I think that is the rain here.
Mhm.
My internet connection is not that good today.
So let's ask Felipe. Felipe, did you hear what the meaning of the plague of frog is within ourselves?
Yes, it's really, really new to me, and it is really interesting the numbers. It's those I'm kind of curious about the other plagues, because these two ones, this first and second, are related to this number 44, which is the lacking of the unity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really interesting. This we can feel this. Everybody knows, or everybody already was this big speaker you are talking about, like just replying these external opinions, and it makes me think about this the foreign fire, strange
Yes.
fire, because we do not have our own individuation, our own opinion, or our own unity in a way.
True.
And we keep going for a search, but this search is empty. It's like this is what I understood and felt.
This is true. This is true. Now we have here two paintings. One of them is aquarelle, I believe. 1 second. Try to move the screen here. This is the second plane. There's an interesting, I don't know if it's intended or not, but the artist wrote in a mirror writing here. The title is in French, but in a mirror writing. And beneath there, on the left side, there's a title and explanation in German, and on the right a title and explanation in French. And we see here how the Bible says Vata'al Hatzfardea, and the frog rose or came up, and we see here a collection of frogs are coming from the water, from any source of water, and so to speak they attacking people. But of course this is not about physical frog, but it's about different opinion. What is the sound that a frog makes?
Yes.
It's kwa kwa, but no words.
It is
It just is.
difficult.
Yes, yeah. It just kwa kwa, but no words. It just sometimes we can hear people streaming all kinds of ideas in the background, but it's not their own. It's not coming from a connection. So it sounds like kwa kwa. Yeah.
Just
It's interesting.
one.
Yes.
Yes, Felipe, go ahead.
No, just one interesting thing. I looking at this painting. The title is inverted. It's like a mirror, and it gave to me the impression that the artist wanted to show that he is inside the painting, like when I don't know. It was just an impression. You know, he's looking, and if somebody is watching from the outside and see him in the center of the painting. I was thinking about why do the artists put the inverted titles, and this is what like a feeling I had, just to share it.
Yes, it is interesting. As children, did you have this experience of writing in a mirror writing when you were taught or learned to write? Did you have the experience of mirror writing? Or did you? Yes.
Yes,
I was writing as well in mirror. The teacher used to sit with me and explain me to. I used to look at the board and write mirror. This is interesting.
And also, I mean, if the author couldn't just know in Hebrew, we write from right to left, but in the Latin way of writing, it's the opposite. But if we can, he tried to express the second plague in Hebrew, but with Latin letters.
Excellent.
Total Latin. It's just a question of it.
Yes, Felipe, can you repeat, because the sound was disconnected? Felipe?
No, just to say that it is parallel to the subject. It's just to share these impressions, because in art sometimes we have impressions that are not related objectively with the subject, but they sure mean something. But just to share these.
Thank you. Thank you. Now there is one paragraph from the Zohar. I can read the Hebrew and translate it briefly into English and see what is this perspective that the Zohar brings. This is Zohar Parashat Shmot, meaning it's the book of Exodus, but Parashat Vayera, Ma'amar. This is another article that the Nile River comes up with frogs. So this is, here we start. Vata'al Hatzfardea, and the frog came up, and the Zohar says he should have said Hatzfardeim, the frogs, plural, came up, meaning using plural form of the noun. And he answers, צפרדע אחת הייתה, one frog was, והולידה, and she conceived or was in a way delivering. One frog, because the Bible says ותעל הצפרדע, and the frog came up using singular form, הצפרדע. So he says צפרדע אחת הייתה. There was only one frog, but she delivered, so to speak, many. ונתמלאה מהן הארץ, and the land was filled with them from the frogs. והיו כולם מוסרים את עצמם לאש. And everybody used to deliver themselves into the fire. That it's written, ובתנוריך, and in your ovens, ובמשערותיך, and in your bundles of food, meaning the frogs. This is how the Bible describes. We did not continue to read the rest of the verses, but this is a quote. ומה היו אומרים? באנו באש, we came in the fire, ובמים, and in the water, ותוציאנו לרוויה, and you gave us to drink. This is quite a complex text, but we shall try to follow. And if you will say that this is so, what do the Egyptians care that all of those frogs came into fire? And he answered that all of them came into fire and went into the oven, but did not die. And those who died, what did they do? There was a bread in the oven, and they came into the bread and split, and from them came many others, and they were swollen within the bread. And when they came to eat from the bread returned to be in their intestine. The bread came in their intestine to be frogs, and the frogs used to dance in their intestines and raising their voice until the Egyptians died. And this plague was the hardest of all. Come and see, it is written, and the Nile was conceiving of many frogs, and so to speak. Meaning that they came into their bodies. First, Pharaoh was beaten, and most and more than anyone else. That it's written, and he cried in your people, in all of your slaves. Yehi Shem Hashem Mevorach min ha'olam ve'ad ha'olam, shall be the name of the Holy Blessed He, blessed from the world until the world, that He is conceived and remember the doings of humans in whatever they do.
This is nice, it is beautiful. Thank you for translating it. So the frogs were in the intestine meat
Yes,
of the people.
yes.
This is a beautiful symbol, because I can remember that Ravi Zakuria speaks that we do not have a soul, a kiva soul, like we have to develop the neshama. It is not everybody that have neshama, right?
Mm-hmm.
In other words, we could say that is this relationship that you were talking before, to have and to recognize your own path, right? To recognize that. And we could think that these frogs are like seeds of opinions. Everybody is eating the seeds of chita with the bread, mixed it with the bread, with the wheat. like little seeds that goes to the intestine, to the instinctive, to the lower side. And I was wondering it also that, you know, the Shemot, this book of Exodus, it starts speaking about the souls of the sons of Jacob.
Yes.
These are the names, right?
Yes.
That came down to Egypt, that incarnated in this land of Egypt.
Yes.
And they multiply, but the king of Egypt forgot about Joseph, forgot about the connection with the tree of life, forgot about the new king, the eagle, you know, this worldliness forgets the Joseph, forgets the secret. So I'm seeing a lot of images about this process of going to the Egypt, going to the gravity, to the material world, and everything that we consume here, and this work from Aaron and Moses that is like inside of us as well, to bring back life. I'm I know that I'm in a journey here right now. I don't know if I was clear, but I'm just seeing this process of purification as well.
Yes. It is true. It is true. This is why here in the article of Zohar it says that this plague was the hardest for Pharaoh. It is hardest because, like you say, it comes in the intestine, and in other laws we hear that the greatest pain that a person can experience is the experience of the intestines. Because usually in the, you call it a lower part of the body, usually in this part also there is a womb, there's a reproduction and multiplicity, and to have and conceive frogs and not human, not a spirit, this is hard. This is hard. Yes, Felipe?
This is really interesting because in the intestines it's said that we, how can I say, the nourishment of our body has an important role in this
I think that I don't hear Felipe. Fernando, do you hear Felipe?
No, I cannot hear him.
Maybe he will return. I hope.
And Eti, I was, while Felipe is not coming, I hope he
will
can
return.
come back soon. I was reading a lot of things. Oh, he came back. Felipe?
sorry,
Yes, yes, we hear you.
disconnected, sorry.
Yes, we can hear you, Felipe. You started
Can you hear me?
expressing. Yes, yes.
No, it's really interesting this aspect of the intestines because there is the assimilation of the nourishment of our body. And I heard someone said, like a doctor or something, that the intestine is like it's like a brains.
True.
It's like the brains of the body, you know.
Yes.
Because it's like an intelligent. There is an intelligence in this part of the body, and we assimilate all the food, and there is a really important role in our body, in our body life, and if this plague it's in these intestines, I was thinking that it's affecting the mind of Egyptian, the mind of this pharaoh, and we can stand for this plague. I guess I was curious about why this is. The Zohar speaks that is the worst of the plagues. And another thing I was thinking is that the frogs, if I'm not wrong, the amphibious, they have the process of how is the term for breathing? The breathing of the amphibious is by the skin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm it's just something I remembered of our classes, and the amphibious breathe by their skin. So relating to this ruach, that is the air, the ability to breathe, in the frogs, this ability of the spirit is attached to the skin, to the, in a way, the ore with the iron. So in the frog, the spirit is it's not light; it's skin.
Excellent.
I don't know if I.
It is excellent. It is excellent, because their speech, in a way, they say people speak like frogs. So their speech is like from the skin, which is Or and Ra. Yes. Yes. This is the relation.
The breath. Yes. The breath of life is in the skin, not in the light of the unity, in a way.
Yes. Thank you so much.
And other day, I was thinking, I don't know actually why, but I remember this came into my mind. The relation, I was thinking if there is some kind of inner relation with these intestines and the vav. I don't know exactly why I think this. It was these relations with the body, like the vav is related to the nose, and with the, I guess, with our chest in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking if there is a relation in the lowest parts of the body with this aspect of the intestines that are really important, actually. But this is just a thought.
It's good that you ask, because if I may, I would like to make a little sketch here and to show something here. Let's say I move to the pen. A second. And this is, I would like to make a little sketch of the tree of life and show something here. Just about. Do you hear me? Because I move next to the writing board, so I move from the microphone. Can you hear, Fernando? Felipe, can you hear?
Yes.
Yes.
I can hear. I am
Thank you.
listening.
So the first plague, Dam, appears in Malchut, in kingdom. This is the first. The second comes as Yesod, in Yesod, and this is Tzfardea. Because Felipe, you remember what Felipe's question was? About the Vav. You remember, Felipe?
Yes, I
So, Malchut, kingdom, is associated with the first plague, Dam, and the second with Yesod. Why with Yesod? Usually, naturally, because this is what Luria says. Luria says that all the plagues has relation to the 10 spheres, but to the shell, to the external, he says to the klipa, so to speak. So, Malchut, or Dam, is associated blood with kingdom. Tzfardea is associated with Yesod. Why with Yesod? Yesod is the one that connects Yesod and Malchut. He nourishes the heavenly kingdom. And then we have unity, because Yesod contains the 9 upper spheres, including himself, and he nourishes the 9 into the 10s. And then we have a completion into the 1. The 9s, he brings all the abundance from the upper 9s, and he streams them to the heavenly kingdom. And then we have 10 spheres. So it is very important that the Yesod, foundation, holds everything together. It's like a big pipe. He connects all the abundance that comes from the other spheres, but he is a one major channel, and he streams it to the kingdom. But here, and this is why the Zohar says that the plague of frog was hardest for the Egyptians of Pharaoh, because the Yesod, and suddenly we have a split. Yesod usually unites everything, and here we have a split, 4 on 4 on 4. Do we understand? And then he cannot nourish.
Yes.
There is no nourishment.
It is amazing. And could we relate it
Yes.
with the belly button? Because I was thinking like Tiferet, we can relate it with the heart.
Yes.
And I was thinking that maybe Felipe asked about the intestine,
Mm-hmm.
and I was thinking about the belly button, because the belly button is it's a symbol for itself. It nourishes the baby, right?
Yes.
It is the place where we have our first connection, our first vav with
Yes.
our mother.
Yes. Yes. Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
And I think that in Hebrew, I think that is tabor. It is
Excellent.
like it.
Yes.
I'm not
Taboo.
sure.
Yes. Taboo. Why taboo? Tov. Oh, the light is good. Taboo. The center. Taboo. Tov or Bala Sulam says taboo from Tov, or the light is good. Taboo. It's also the center. Taboo. Yes. Yes.
Thank
So
you.
it is. No, it is amazing, Philip, because we are talking here about this idea of climbing the tree of life, but first we need to get rid of this klipa, or purify this klipa to become a noga, right, or something like this.
Yes.
become
Yes. Excellent.
clear.
Excellent. Excellent. Excellent.
And from what we eat, if we think about the lower manifestation of our consumption, what we consume, that is what we eat to our body, it is the first step. So we can eat. This is maybe because the tradition speaks so much about the kashrut, about the importance of eating kashrut, eating only the food that is good.
Appropriate. Yes. To spiritual growth. Yes, it's true.
Appropriate, yes.
Yes, this is it. It fits a
And to bless
spiritual.
the food. because-
Yes.
Yes.
Please continue, Fernando.
No, I just wondering it. I'm so happy to listen this because it is like a manual about our life. It starts with the food that we eat, maybe, and it is difficult, right? It is not easy to to have the good food, not to eat organics, maybe, or to eat something that is good, not industrialized. Even if we not think about the cash fruit, if we think about only rationally, what is good and what is not good to us, it is not easy. It is not easy to choose the good food, and this is the lower level. So, if we think about what we consume with our eyes, like
Sure.
the tweets that we read, the news that we listen, that is another kind of food. And maybe what we consume is very similar to what the frogs consume, only bugs and things that is not.
Because, like you say, it's interesting. This is a manual for spiritual growth. Once we recognize it, no. It is beautiful. You speak about nourishment, and you say this is the lower part of the body which is nourished, and we think what to eat. Like industrial, not industrial, appropriate to human. Some people eat things that don't fit human. And this is one thing, and then comes another stage, which is the mind, or what kind of nourishment do we nourish ourselves from the senses, what the eyes read or see, or what the ears are listening to, or what the nose is smelling, all of this. There are stages, definitely there are stages. I was thinking about, since Felipe was asking about the relation to the Vav, and I drew this tree of life regarding to the plagues, and Sfardea is Yesod, and Yesod is related to the 6th day of creation. 6th day of creation, when Adam, supposed to be Adam, to be created. And this is a parallel picture to the creation, because here we see what frogs, the split into 4, but not unity of Adam, because in Genesis 1 we read about, so to speak, about the 6 days. And then we have first triangle, also Weinreb speaks about it in his book, and we have another triangle. This is day 1, day 2, day 3, 4, 5, and 6. In the 6th day, Adam is created. This is in the tree of life, but the parallel negative picture is Tzfardea, like split 4 and 4 and 4, not unity. Like here, Adam, we have 1, 4, 4, and Tzfardea, it is 4, 4, 4 in the 6th day. This is the 6th day, so to speak. I move the spheres from here, grace. So let's see what is the mathematical relation between Tzfardea, frog, and Adam, or Emet. Take the frog, which is 4, 4, 4. Take Adam, or Emet, truth, which is 1, 4, 4. And what is the gap between them?
$300.
So what is the advantage of Adam to a man who has a frog mind?
Ruach Elohim.
Yes. Spirit of God.
it is not, how deep it is. It is amazing because how difficult it is to apply this in our life. It is like
It is, you're right,
this
it is,
connection.
it is difficult, but, and here it is, it's a challenge, because we on one hand we can look at it, okay, it's difficult. On the other hand, this is challenge because it challenges us and urges to relate. And by relating to something higher, we are stretched to grow. Otherwise, people are asking, this is a comment, how do you kill the time? What do you mean, how do I kill? You need to kill the time? Life is not interesting enough to read and to search and to relate that you have to kill the time? I mean, what is the option? Did you hear about people who eat frogs as a nourishment?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Brazil, we have this. It is like in some communities. It is not frog. It is the female frog, but it is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like fry it like the Chinese.
Yes, I heard in France. I didn't see, but I heard people came and told us.
And to hunt frogs, you know how it is to
No.
hunt the frogs.
No.
And
You mean
because
the
frogs came out at night,
Mm-hmm.
And to hunt a frog, you need a light.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any kind of light in your cell phone nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
but then if you had if you put a light in the frog, he stands, he cannot see anything. He only see in the dark. He steals if you put the light on.
Mm-hmm.
He stands still, so it is easy to hunt a frog. He like freeze to the light.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking about Plato today regarding the plague of frogs, because plague of frogs in Hebrew is tzfardea, like people who tweet opinions. Tzafar dea. Tzafar is like to honk, or like a shofar tzafar, to make sound and to, how do you say, to tweet opinion, to shoot an opinion without any relation. Tzafar dea. I put the hey because dea, opinion with hey, is dea. This is opinion. And I was thinking about Plato because he speaks about the world of ideas. Idea. We say idea. Idea. This is how we write it in Hebrew. Idea. Idea. This the world of ideas. And if we change the aleph here with ayin, it is dea, meaning the world of ideas is not a personal opinion. Do you see the opposite relation between tzfardea and idea?
Yes.
Yes.
The unity.
The
especially
unity. The unity. Excellent.
They are like two opposites.
Excellent. Not two opposites. Excellent.
And if we opposite the letters, we get Dalet and 9, we get the eternity.
Yes.
So it's like it's like the opposite of approaching eternity, approaching the
Yes.
unity.
Yes. Yes. When this is interesting, what you said. Speaking about foundation, Yesod, and Tzfardea, there is multiple opinions. Usually in the tree of life, Yesod has one function. He just collects the light that comes from the other spheres, and he nourishes them or delivers them to the heavenly kingdom. So he has only one choice, to do good and to give it to the heavenly kingdom. And he doesn't have, if I could speak about Sfirat Yesod as he, Yesod does not have opinion. By stating that he is Yesod, he will do only good. This is it. This is his job, to do good. Because he has one function, to do good. And this is what he will do. But Yesod of Klippa has, so to speak, Tzfardea on it, and then he has split to 4 and 4 and 4, and he cannot do one thing because he's split in himself. It's like a person that is a container of opinions. So if he comes to a situation that he might or could help, he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to act or act right, because all the frogs in him are tweeting each one to a different direction and different opinion. He cannot do the right thing. This is why Hayesod, it's like it calls in Hebrew Hamachri'a, the one who judges or pulls the, how do you say? In Libra we have this, I don't know how to call it in English, when we have the scale. Yesod also holds the Brit. This is the element of the covenant, Yesod. And he has the Brit, he is obliged to the connection with God. So once on the Yesod there is Brit, there is connection to the one, he will do only good and only the right thing. But when the Yesod does not hold the covenant, the Brit, he cannot do the right thing, and he is split into 4 and 4 and 4. He cannot decide. He cannot be decisive to decide right. Do we understand the concept?
Yes.
Yes, and it's like I was just thinking about the Aleph, which is 1, 1, 1, and
Yeah.
this how can I say it? It's Tzefahad.
Tzfardea. Tzfardea.
Tzefardea, it's 4, 4, 4.
Yes.
Like instead of the 3 minds, the spirit, we have this 3.
Yes.
This 4 in the 3 sides of the tree of life.
Excellent. Excellent. Excellent.
And it
Yes.
keep the covenant. I'm sorry.
Yes, yes.
Sorry. If I remember well, it was 36 tzaddikim that could hold the world, right?
Yes.
It is
Yes.
that.
Yes.
And 36 is Leah,
Yes.
and you open that Leah represents the virtue.
Yes.
And if we think that the 36 tzaddikim, it is not something external like 36 people that are studying and keeping the world firm, but if we think that is something within, could be related with this ability to manifest the virtue.
Yes. This is it. this is because it's not about the 36 people, which are the community somewhere in the city. This is it. It is an abstract thinking. Why do they say 36 tzaddikim? In a full circle, we have 360 degrees. This is the center. When we divide it to 10 spheres, of the tree of life, each sphere get what? 36.
And I was remembered that Philon speaks that Leah is the virtue, right?
Yes.
That is the
Yes.
36.
Yes. Yes, this is a virtue. Yes. And yes. As you said, the tzaddikim are not people, like they have personalities. The how do you say, the tzaddik within is the one who nourishes the heavenly kingdom. Maybe the mathematics took us out of the way, but maybe you can you repeat your description about the tzaddikim?
The context is you are speaking that the Yesod is
Yes.
the foundation, and the Yesod in unity is what makes the tree of life stands, let's say.
Yes.
I'm speaking
Yes.
with my own words, but is the fidelics of the balance, let's say.
Yes.
The,
True.
and I was remembering that the sages speak that thanks to 36 tzaddikim,
Mhm.
the world stands. So if we think this in an inner way, we think that this 36 is not 36 people, but the quality of 36 is not a quantity, it's a quality, it's a number. And you are speaking that it corresponds to that 10 virtues. Maybe.
Yes. 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 10 spheres. Yes. 10 qualities within. Yes. When the virtue. Yes. Yeah.
Another thing I was remembering, I don't know actually the source, but in our Zohar meeting, one of our friends brought this knowledge. The beginning of the Varim has this Ele Shemot Hamoshe, something like this.
Mhm.
And the sages said that Moshe spoke for 36 hours to give the book of Devarim, and it's like the fifth book, the book of Devarim. It's like a knowledge that was already within Moshe. It was he wasn't in that moment. He wasn't just speaking just the mouth of the Lord. He was speaking of the knowledge, the wisdom he had conquered. And so when he speaks about this, it said that he speaks for 36 hours. And this explanation is because of this first word of Devarim, Ele, and it's Leah as well. we already talked about eletoledot, also.
That's
And
correct.
just contribution.
Yes, that's true. That's correct.
Eti,
Yes,
and if I may ask you, you also speaks that the tzaddikim within
yes,
is the one who knows the supernal, right? Is the
yes.
one who knows, who connects us with the tree of life. I think that this was your flow of meditation. If you could expand a little more about this, because I can remember one class where we learned that we could name our emotions and our moods, like to be in relationship, to not be a victim of it, to understand that we have a multitude of beings inside of us, but everyone is one, like the Shema calling,
Mm-hmm.
everything is one, but we have a manifestation of multiplicity and we have to bring it to unity, right? So this tzaddikim within, this bridge that connects us with the tree of life. And did you ever, could a person have a contact with it in an objective form, like to listen to it, really listen to it, like, or to make a good relationship? Because I think about some examples that I can remember.
Mm-hmm. Of what?
Like the Magid is related with this or not, I don't know.
Mm. This is interesting to look at the Magid, because in former times they used to look at the Magid as I don't want to say like a certain people who are really meet certain spirit or so. It's like almost horror stories, but positive. But this is not the intention. Magid, in a way, is, and Philon speaks about it in his book, in the 5 books that I read now in Hebrew. He doesn't call it a Magid, but he speaks about 2 kind of speeches that we have inside of ourselves: the inner speech that comes, in the mind, and the spoken speech. We could say that the inner speech is Leah, or the Magid, or the thoughts, and the words that we speak outside and somebody hears is the Rachel, or cognitive speech. And he says those kind of devarim are 2 kinds of qualities, as we discussed. The Magid is when we go to a very deep mode of concentration inside of ourselves. And people who write music or write stories, they also feel it, or they have a connection to it. It comes to them. When we are very, very silent inside of us, silence, it means a lot of space from mundane things, or daily lives, or mechanical activities. If we don't give so much echo and resonate to mechanical, so there's a space in us, in a great silence, and then comes a stream of thoughts. In certain communities they used to call it a Magid, which comes from Aramaic, Nagid Venafik. Nagid Venafik, this is how the Aramaic calls Venahar Yotze Me'eden. We speak about the river that comes out of Eden. So in Aramaic, the Zohar, how do you say, the Aramaic of the Zohar says Nagid Venafik. This is the Aramaic, says Nagid Venafik. In Hebrew, Yotze But Nagid is like Mem and Nun, they change the Magid. So, the river of consciousness that comes from the Garden of Eden. What is the Garden of Eden? This infinite intelligence. V'nahar yotze me'eden, and a river comes out of Eden to water the garden. This river inside of us is a stream of intelligence, of consciousness. And he speaks to us in a language that we understand, whether it's words, music, notes, moods. This is the Magid. It's not like we see in cartoons, like a little angel with two wings or plastic image. It's an inner relation to silence. Did I answer your question, Fernando?
Yes. And I thank you, and just came one idea that it's interesting that Carl Jung called his Magid, let's say, his teacher with him, Philemon. It is almost Philon.
Yes, yes.
It is almost the same.
Yes, yes. Some children, they experience it and they call it, I have a little, they say in Hebrew, gamad. It's interesting. They call it little dwarf or little midget, gamad. In Europe, there's many lores about little dwarfs, like Snow White. Yes, there's a Snow White in the Shilgiya v'Shivat HaGamadim, Snow White and the 7 dwarfs. Gamad, please pay attention to the word gamad. Gamad is a midget or a dwarf. Please pay attention what happens to the letters of gamad, because many children, they have a friend in their mind that they speak to. They call it gamad in Hebrew, like little friend. But what happened to the letters, please? What is their gamad that speaks to them?
Beautiful.
Magid. Some children.
Yes.
Yes. So there is some children experience when they grow up, they come to be creative. They have a sense of there's like a conversation in them from the beginning. Those children, they not all the time in the center of attention. They're not so actively being pushed like others, but they always take a step back and they think of reality as given from somewhere else. They don't take it as it is. This is a little story about a child and her midget. When we were children, there was just a little note about children and midgets. There was a program for the children in the radio. They did not have yet the word podcast. They used to call it a skit, from listening. A sket ushma, listen Israel. This is the biblical word, a skit. And they used to read us a story about a girl. She had a friend, midget. His name was Karashindo, her friend. And he used to live on, children used to get milk in the morning, and when you boil milk, it has like a little cream, and it becomes like a screen on the milk. I don't know how to say the word. It's like cream, and it becomes very, covers the milk. So this little child had a friend. She didn't like to drink the milk, and she developed relation to the milk by creating, or she had a friend midget called Karashindo. So I just remember this when you asked me about the Magid and this child who had a friend midget Gamad, and it came to me, what does it mean? If we listen, I mean, we manage to silence the mechanical reality, it comes. Here, we have a comment here on YouTube. Fernando, can you please read? There is a comment from our friend.
Oh, okay. I see that unfolding down.
Yes.
It's Kevin.
Kevin.
To see what is hidden in, yes. To see what is hiding in plain sight, we need to learn to see what is hiding inside first. What do you think about that concept? When the mechanical transform into the marvelous. Good morning, all.
Yes. It's yes. Good morning, Kevin. Thank you for the question.
I agree with Kevin.
Yes.
Because it's interesting that I think that I don't know if it is from Jung, but he speaks about the living soul.
Yes.
We start seeing the symbols in our dreams,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
That is a door, that is maybe a window that
Yes.
permits us to see some symbols.
Mm-hmm.
But after a while, everything becomes a symbol. Like we can see a symbol in our room, in the place that we work, in the things that happens in our day. So first we need to obtain this ability, and after we see that everything that we do, it's a symbol for something.
Yes, that's correct. Once I heard a saying says the following: if I sit somewhere and then I think of something, and suddenly in my thought I move to somewhere else, so where am I?
Sorry, could you repeat?
Looks like a Quan.
Yes?
Could you repeat it? I couldn't hear.
A person was saying that he was sitting somewhere doing something, and suddenly he had a thought, and this thought that he had moved him somewhere else. So he asked himself, if I can move in my thought to somewhere else, where am I? If a person sits in... Yes?
Yeah. No, that's beautiful.
If a person sits somewhere in an office, but in a certain continent, but something comes to him, either a letter, email, or a picture, and suddenly he thinks of something else. So where he is at, his body might sit next to a desk, but his mind can move, or our mind can shift. This is why the Bible says, Ve'enei Hashem, and the eyes of the Lord, Meshotetot b'chol haaretz, they're wandering all over the land or all over the world. Our mind can move to different periods in time, to different locations. We can experience our former lives. This is amazing. We tend to think, or we educated to think, this is who we are, like what is written on birth certificate or ID, where do we live, address, and so. But this is a very, very limited perspective of ourselves. I was just remembering a dream that I was invited to work in a bakery. I had an umbrella and people invited me to work in a bakery. Just remember now.
You had the Vav,
They interview
Yes,
me,
you
and
had
I
the
I didn't understand. They interview me, said you can work in the bakery. Is that okay? Yeah. So
the world of dreams, right?
yes, in the world of dreams.
Olam and Lehem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Beautiful.
this is very interesting conversation because it, how to say, canalized itself to a great well of silence, and from this comes like a new wave, and it is beautiful because I would like to thank you for enabling the access to the well.
I thank you, Etienne. Thank you, Felipe and friends.
Thank you.
It is
Thank you.
amazing, and I was thinking it, where am I now? Because we are in different countries, and when we enter in this class, I instantaneously feel that I am in another plane,
Mm.
in another
Yeah.
time. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming here,
Thank-
for participating, and I'd like to wish you a very good, happy weekend. Shabbat Shalom. And we
Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom, and we could meet here on Monday. And meanwhile, when you have questions, ideas, and sharing reading experience that you would like to share, you're most welcome. Thank you so much, Kevin and
Thank
Fordinto.
you, Etienne. Shabbat
Thank you, my
Shalom.
friend.
Thank you so much, Venus. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.